So are you saying in the way that the choice for somebody like Hitler to live amongst humans and do what he did has been made on the spiritual level, and in the way that was necessary for human development? Or maybe necessary is the wrong word, but that was the chosen path that so many humans had to go through. Obviously his actions affected pretty much the whole planet. You know, there were very few places in the world that have been unaffected by a Second World War. How do we square that? It feels wrong to say it.
The greatest love of all is happening to me.
Hello, and welcome back to the Greatest Love of All podcast. Today, we are diving into karma. Now, is it there to punish us? Is it this thing that hangs over all of our moves and everything we do in life, or is there more to it? I am one of your hosts, Izabela, and I'm joined by Ingvar. Hello.
Hello again.
Hello again indeed. So, Ingvar, obviously karma is in a way a hot topic. I guess it's talked a lot about in the Hindu religion. Like karma is something that they very much recognize. I have been to Bali a few months ago, and we've spent some time with one of the Hindu drivers who was taking us around, and he was a deep believer in karma. In fact, so much so that he told me that Bali is such a nice place because everybody believes in karma, and therefore nobody does anything bad because they know that if they do, then that would come back to them. So what is karma in your point of view as a, I guess we can call you a light worker? What do you look at karma as?
As you said, that do not think bad because this will go back to you, or do not do something bad to someone else because this will come back to you. But also people are understanding this as a punishment too. So probably you'll have so much trouble in life because of your karma, they are saying like this. So probably you have done something bad to someone, and now you have a punishment. I often could hear that people are thinking in this way. I remember once I asked what exactly it is karma, if this is really a punishment or it is something else. So the answer was that it is not any punishment, not at all. It is just, that it is the opportunities for people, for souls. Exactly, the souls are choosing those opportunities for themselves, the best opportunities to develop themselves. Because if you haven't done things before, what you have chosen before, or you just made mistakes or something like that, so you have an opportunity once again to this correctly or in another way. It is always opportunity for you. This what is the best for you. So you have a lot of possibilities, a lot of opportunities to choose what you will in your life by your soul, by your inner feelings, to resolve the problems. Not always easy. Some podcasts ago, I was also telling about relationships, and that often people are saying that difficult relationship, that the karmic relationships, that's probably sometimes people are saying, oh, you have to stay in this to, to fix this. But sometimes it is just to quit. So maybe you have, done a lot in this relationship because of this karma, and probably you thought, oh, that's your karma, so you have to be together all the time, but always you get, for example, knocked from the life, or something like, from this person which is with you in this relationship. So sometimes it is just to leave this relationship.
Sorry, so just so that I sort of square it in my head, in a way, it goes back to what we were talking in the last episode, that we are all essentially learning. We are on the path of learning. We are all students of life, right? And we are different levels
Yes.
of school, right? We could be kindergarten, we could be high school, or maybe university, depending on where we are. And from what you say, karma is almost like opportunities, and there are four lessons that are
Mhm.
thrown our way for us to make a choice, right? Those are the moments
Right.
where I guess there is a fork in the road, and we can either do something this way or that way. Therefore, build on that experience that's given to us and either learn or not to learn. And therefore, if we don't learn, so if we maybe, I don't know whether there is such a thing as a wrong choice, but if we make a choice that directs us in a specific way, that lesson might need to come up again so that we can be presented with opportunity to make a different choice. Is that
Mhm.
correct way to explain
Yes.
that? Okay, so that all of a sudden makes karma feel like something really positive and actually something to look forward to. And I really deeply like the Hindu way of looking at karma, because even though they see it as, okay, if you do bad things will come back to you.
Mhm.
In a way that kind of works with that definition, because what they are saying is that, okay, if you choose to do the bad thing, you
Mhm.
will be presented with that again, either in this or next lifetime, so that you get opportunity to do the right thing in the end. So that is actually quite accurate.
People are waiting, for this, if they got something bad from someone. Yes, some bad experience. But in this level, from the soul level, this is not bad experience. It is just an experience to learn. And people are thinking. So if we take, for example, a Hitler who died and millions of people, to kill them, of course, not only by his hand, by himself, but by the
By
orders
proxy.
who made. Yes, he made those orders to others, but he is responsible for this, right? So, and of course, from the one story, we know that Hitler is died, that he died, he was burned in the shelter, but in Berlin. But in another story, it is that Hitler survived and he arrived in Argentina, and he was, he died there
Old age.
uh, in old age. Yes, right. So you see, it is the question: where is the punishment? If this punishment it will be in this life or in the next life. And I think it is that, of course, people are want to, to punish their predators because they don't want to be a prey. But and of course, so you see, but we are in the this is the human level of thinking, but on the soul level, there is, we are acting a kind of role. So we, someone can be a murderer, and the someone can be a prey. So the souls are, acting their role in this life. But it is that, of course, for some people, they will not understand this because they are thinking in a different way. But if you think that our life is a kind of holograms, and just as we were talking many times of this, that our souls creates our life. Everything is depend of our souls. So you see, there is the agreement between the souls to be, for example, a father and the children and the mother, and after they are changing. So you see, there are the groups of souls, so they have an agreement, and they are trying, they are playing to be, for example, this person and another person, for example. So they have different opportunities. And of course, I will also go back to this, what I was telling, that when I saw how it is, how the soul is choosing life. Soul is enlightenment. And of course, I will say also that there are the levels of enlightenment. But for us, soul is enlightenment and is so happy for choosing those experience, and is choosing the best experience for them. And the same it is when you are going to the shop and, for example, you want to buy the car, and of course you want to buy the best car for you, which will be useful for you, because you don't want to buy just thing which is not useful, because it will be wasting a money. So you see, it will be also a wasting the energy to choosing a wrong. So if the soul is enlightenment, so this awareness of the soul, it is always to be, to choose the right things, and of course choose with this awareness. So soul knows why is choosing those conditions in our life. So there is no that there will be a punishment. It is only that it is choosing the conditions, and soul can feel those conditions to feel to be like, for example, like a prey, or like a predator, or like someone else, like be a poor or be a rich person, for example, or just a simple ordinary person. So because this is the experience which is necessary for a soul to experience those conditions, those events. So it is like that.
So I really feel that, mentioning Hitler has actually put it on the, it's almost like a can of worms, right? Because it's
Mm.
such a polarizing topic. And
Yes.
obviously, Hitler has done so much wrong. So
Yes.
are you saying, in the way, that the choice for somebody like Hitler to live amongst humans and do what he did has been made on the spiritual level, and in the way that was necessary for human development? Or maybe necessary is the wrong word, but that was the chosen path that so many humans had to go through. Obviously, his actions affected pretty much the whole planet. There were very few places in the world that have been unaffected by a second world war. So do we think that he was, we had somebody like that sent through, and that was agreed, and souls, I guess, agreed to that? Like, how do we square that? This is, it almost feels wrong to say it.
So you see, it is
Yeah,
difficult to agree with it.
it is. It really is, because, how can you say, oh, okay, it's a spiritual lesson, the millions of people that died had to
Mhm.
die, right? Like, it's really, it feels wrong to say it. Like,
Yeah.
why would souls choose that? It was horrific, on so many levels. It was just, unimaginable.
Hmm.
So are we saying that was meant to be? Like, is that, how do we square that one, Ingvar?
So you see, this depend of the levels, depend of your awareness on what kind of level you are and your understanding. And so on this level, what we are used to live here, we have a problem to understand this, because we have our humans thinking. and emotions. So we are, and of course, we have this sense of being a good or the bad person, and we can choose what kind of what we want to be. When we, for example, when we describe a, a god or people describing the god, what is the god can forgive the biggest sins to the person. You may have a forgiveness, but we here, it is difficult for us to get this forgiveness. So, but I'm not telling that, I am such, huge person, and it will be easy to forgive for such a big crime. But it is, for a soul, it is also a challenge, a big challenge, for people who had a family who were murdered, that it is not so easy to forgive. Always, when people are, dying, they have those experience when they are dying and they are going back. They are dying for 10 minutes or something like this, and they are going back. They have this experience. So when they left their body, they start to feel love. And this life on the earth, it start to be for them just, not comparable to this, experience, to this love, what they feel when they are passed away. And even they were, for example, killed by someone, or they, for example, they died in a car accident, or in that someone killed them, and they walk as in this level, that woke up as and suddenly have no those feelings that I'm hurt. So you see, so this is another awareness when we are here. Some podcasts ago, I also was telling that, we have those chakras, and chakras are exactly a place of awareness. So you have awareness of plexus solaris, you have a throat chakras awareness, heart chakra awareness, and of course the sacral chakra awareness. So because when you live on this level, so you understand the thing differently. And sometimes you meet the people who are differently thinking than you, and you may say, oh, I can't, communicate with this person because he don't understand me, because he is so primitive, for example, because he have so primitive values in his life, but because he is on the lower level than you, for example. But it is don't mean that he is worse than you, but it means that he's in another class.
On a different yeah, in a different class, as in a different
Different
school type.
level.
Yes.
Yes. Or in different cell of awareness.
I wanted to go back for a second to that whole Hitler thing, because
Yes.
I think as we are talking about it, I kind of have almost squared it in my head. So we talk about this a lot of the time, Ingvar. We say that obviously that life here is almost as a simulation for the souls to learn and grow. Okay. So if we go through that perspective, so let's for a second remove ourselves as humans who think that this is it, the life, and this is so serious, and we have to take it as like what we see is what we get kind of thing. Let's forget that for a moment. If we are
Mhm.
here as souls and this is a simulation, right?
Mhm.
And souls have chosen for us to go through the lesson of Second World War, right?
Mhm.
Then the souls know that whatever happens there, kind of we move on from that, right? We grow
Mhm.
as a result of it. And
Mhm.
therefore, it's not for the souls, it's not seen as this horrific thing that comes on you and is the wave of distraction. It's in fact a wave of change brought
Hmm.
in at a force and at a scale for the souls to learn and grow together and learn
Hmm.
from that collectively. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, when we phrase it like that, it kind of, we can view it with a purpose. We can view it with a lot more humility, perhaps, with a lot
Hmm.
more love and understanding than we do when we look at it from the level of a human
Hmm.
emotions, feelings in the head, in the
Hmm.
tummy,
Hmm.
the enormity of this is such a horrendous thing, so many people died and that's it. It's like, no,
Hmm.
it actually is completely different then, right?
Hmm.
So just a different perspective. And then okay, but I still want to square the Hitler part, which I can't quite let go. So can you imagine the intensity of experience for the soul of Hitler? And was that, how do you choose to be a villain? In what kind of experience of growth do you take that role? Like I am only looking at it with the view of a small human mind that isn't, closed to the all knowledge that is available to us as souls. But I'm still, like,
I will compare this soul choosing.
yeah,
I mean, the life that when the soul is choosing a life, and for example, when you are a player with this video play game, and there are a lot of games, and people are choosing a war games,
yes.
shooting, and being a thief. And this, maybe I will not tell what kind of games, but I think
We all
people are,
know. I think we can get a good idea of what kind of games exist. You
and
can be a real buddy in the game. Let's just put
yeah,
it that way.
they are actually playing a very bad character there,
That's true. Yeah.
right? And they have a fun from this.
So do you
Uh,
think that that's how it was? Like literally a soul was like, I will take that. Okay. I will be the baddie this time around. You guys shoot for me. You guys shoot for this guy. I mean, there were quite a lot of buddies in the Second World War, the whole kind of
you know what?
scenario, but
In what I believe, you know, I believe in this that we have always chose to, you know, to be right, to do right. It is, of course, sometimes, being a hero on the war. For some people, a hero for one nation, it is the murder for the another nation. You see, on the one side, the person is the hero. On the another side is a murder.
have you ever tuned into the energy of, I guess, Hitler to check whether he was an old soul or a young soul?
No, I haven't checked this. No, but but there is another explanation also. We always are telling. Maybe I told this once, maybe, but always we are telling old souls and the young souls. But there is another also another thing that some souls are in the different streams. There is the stream which is growing, going up, and there is the stream which is going down. So it is exactly a falling. And you see, you have two different sides. See, it is like in the yin yang. You have a plus and you have a minus. And all together, when you put this all together, it is a zero. You see? So you may say zero, it's nothing. But when you spread this, so you have a plus or a minus or plus. And here is so you may say the zero is the beginning and a 0 is also the end. So you see, and we have in our heart, this is 0 point field here also. You see, so without this, imagine if everything will be only on the last. So where is this another side? And the same, when the temperature is growing, yes, and on the another side we have extremely cold. So you see, and without this, how we can, know where we are. So you see, you meet a kind of boundaries. Yes. So you hit the boundary and then you know where to stop. So that's why for you, for example, some souls are choosing this for us, this wrong pattern. So we know then, okay, it is not this way. It is not good for me. I don't have to go there. So this is the wall for me. But for someone else, it is not the wall. They are going past and they are choosing another life. So you see, of course, it can be, a difficult topic to explain, but in a way, this can be a kind of explaining for it. Why we meet bad guys in our life, and because we have an opportunity to make our character stronger than, because we can choose, because without this it is not, it is not the game, just what you do. So the soul is choosing interesting game. If is this interesting in the level of interesting game, so then means that your life can be difficult. But this, you have those conditions, and then you have to do something, and you have to do something with yourself, because then to be worried always, or to do something, and then you know yourself, and then you are self-confident, and you feel stronger. Yes, stronger than. So this situation, it is that it makes you strong. So it is for it, of course, but always you have to use your heart, your intuition to navigate in this situation. And I'm not telling, of course, I will go back to this Hitler, that okay, so the Hitler, it is, he was here for our good. Yes. But I'm not telling this. That was his choice. But we have to focus on our choice, what we are choosing. Because there will not be any Hitler if people will not listen in him, right?
That's true,
But the
right?
people were listening. And that's why the Hitler it was, as I said, politicians. They they were chosen by us because of our energy, because we believe that in this politician, that he will do something for us. So we are lifting him, and then he is a politician, right?
Yeah.
So because of our attention. So when we have attention on us, so the force, it is in us. So more we should believe, and we should trust to ourselves to, to resolve our problems, or to make changes in our life, to decide right in our life, to, because then you are trying. It is also that you are trying. If you have some situation in your life which you don't know yet, so it is like, you are trying another food. You are trying this food, you like this food, or you don't like this food. Or if you don't like, so you have to, find out the way how to avoid this soup. Okay, so maybe I will say to my mother, no, I am busy this way, or I already have this. Yes, I eat something before. Yes, so I'm not hungry anymore. So sorry, I have no time. So you know
Yeah.
you or just you will take. I don't like your soup. Maybe if you do something better, I will like. You know, it is depend of us what we are choosing, and it is also depend, of course, of this of our choosing this our karma. It is how what kind of condition we will have, of course, next time. But it is not that it will be a punishment. It is in a different way.
But also, it's like I know some people struggle with that concept, but I genuinely believe that whatever happens, you can turn into a positive experience. You can't, because you have a choice, as you say. You talk about
Mhm,
that choice a lot of the time. That's the one thing we've been given as probably the biggest gift of
mhm,
all, is the choice and what we make of any situation given to us. And I think that is the concept we need to work on a lot more as humans.
mhm,
We need to really look at ways in which we can control our emotions, how we can frame different situations. Obviously, the complexities of it are
mhm,
so big because it just depends from person to person,
mhm,
all of it. But in the end, if we work on that concept of choice, control of emotions, framing and reframing, we can be so much happier and we can grow so much more
mhm,
as a result
mhm,
than looking at it, it's a problem, end of the world, the worst thing ever happened, and closing ourselves as a result to growth. Because
mhm.
that's ultimately what happens. It's either one way or another. There's nothing in between, right?
Not maybe we, but people will also understand this that the karma, I have this karma and I have to live like that. It
Yeah.
is no way of, of change my life. No, because karma, it's a huge thing for me, and then I can't change this. So it is also not true. Because those conditions, this is only a possibilities for you. So you, from the beginning, you start with it, but the later, when you decide it and when you go with your heart, so you can change your life. People are going to this, to have this cosmograms, and they say that okay, your life it will be like this, and like
Oh,
this.
we're talking about astrology now. That's it. That's, yeah.
And they are telling after, no, my life, because it's Platon, it's coming, so my life it will be very difficult now and then. So, and they start to be worried about this. They were very nervous. It is the conditions only, but you may change the condition. But when you go with your heart, you go beyond this. So you are over this.
I think with astrology, it's a little bit like the weather forecast. We
Yes,
know, we know it's going to rain, therefore you take an umbrella, right?
yes.
Or it's going to be cold, so you take the extra layer. And I think that I love astrology, and bless my auntie Ella, she has introduced me to it through her tarot, but she's been very like, you must not make any decisions in those dates. You have good times then, you do not make decisions in Pisces, and all sorts of different things. But I've learned over time to look at it as a weather forecast. And I think, astrologically speaking, it's like we are all born at specific conditions in the sky. And therefore, maybe we are predisposed to different things. They shape our character or make us the way we are. But I believe our souls choose that for a reason, right? It's kind of like unique mix in the universe that makes you who you are and kind of makes you that perfect being for the soul to grow with, right? But it's the weather forecast that we are looking at here, rather than something that's, you know, like going to completely shape the event to be like this, right? Like it's just not
Mhm.
quite like it.
Yes, but it is also, that we are a hardware. I mean, I'm comparing to the computer. We are a hardware and we have a software. So when we change the software, so our hardware can be work differently. Yes? So we work after the computer works better when you, of course, have a better software. So when we change the software, so I mean change the understanding your life, change your thinking, change your awareness, because when you have this old software, so you work like this, you act like this, and you understand your life like this. So you are making a changes. So you are changing your software all the time when you are working on yourself, when you are, developing. So you are uh, making you new, you making a renew yourself. You are in a different, always you are in a different and a new situation after. But of course, we have some, periods when we have to finish something. So when we go to this, and often it is, for example, when you dream that you are going to the train and the train, you are in a train. So that means that you are, your life, it is a period. So the train has to stop and then you can go, to your destination. But between, it is very difficult to stop the train. Of course, you can use this emergency brake. So then you can stop the train. But I mean, in your life, you have some periods that, of course, you have to finish this experience, and then you can go to another. But mostly, you have, ability to change your life. So always you are changing because you are understanding more, changing your software, and then you are changing your karma always, always. So you see, so it is not like, the karma, it is a punishment or it is a jail for people who were, sent to this life, to this earth as a prisoners, because it is often also that I can hear that we are here because we are a prisoner for some entities. I always, yes, often hear this, and in this time it is quite modern to environment to listen those things. But I haven't felt like that, never. So I'm telling about my experience. For me, life here, it is, I came here in a purpose. So I came because I want to be here, and I came because I'm a fan of life. So that's why I'm telling those things because I feel this in my heart. And of course, I'm telling also those things which I could see when the people came to me and they were asking for the answer. So I was, trying to look and get the answer for them. And that's my experience. So of course, some I had also some questions. So I asked for myself too. But you see, sometimes I didn't knew what the people will be asking for. So, and this knowledge came and explaining me a very much of the life. So you see, or just remember me because we are remembering who we really are. And then when you know that you are a friend of your soul, and your soul is your friend, the biggest friend. And people they are searching for a soulmate. Your soulmate is your soul. And after,
And then there are other souls. Yes.
yes, after is,
Those come
you
first.
see, when you think in this way, so what you feel when you start to think like that? You see, there is the answer. So you see brighter. You are starting to smile because you feel this energy that you are in a home. You are in a home. So you see, because you are, you know, complete then.
And I think it's such a wonderful thing to look at karma as an opportunity for growth, as a choice, and learning how to make that choice along the way and grow with it, because that's ultimately why we're here. And I think it's just a really good reminder that we shouldn't take things too seriously, that actually life should be that great adventure, because that's why we're here. We are sent here to learn and to grow. And why not do it as a big adventure? So, Ingvar, I don't know if you wanted to say anything else before we close off.
Yes, maybe I will also go back a little bit to the Hitler also,
Oh, yeah.
because I think to be to be understood in a good way. So I mean that I don't say that the Hitler is a good person, and I'm not saying that okay he have this a role. So okay, so then I can be a prey. No, I'm telling that you don't have to be a prey. You don't have to listen those people as a Hitler because you have a choice. Then do your choice with your heart, and I believe it will not happen. I believe that universe or we, our souls, have a lot of different possibilities to arrange our life. So maybe today on the earth we have so much wars, and it was the second war. Now people are thinking about this third war, but we don't know what kind of life we can have later. Maybe this is the life without any wars. So then, what kind of experience would be? Now, maybe we cannot imagine this because we are so connected, because we know the history of our planet, or we are thinking that we know the history of our planet, but we have a knowledge of it. But what it is the same, like people are flying in the universe, and what they will discover. So now we have this a new telescope. It before was this Hubble, and now it is another telescope. I don't remember now, but it's even better. So you can see much more far and more with more details. So now the scientists know much more. But before we didn't know that. So the knowledge, our knowledge is growing. So what can be later? So now we are focused on those things which we were, what was in our awareness. But now maybe this will be changed. So we'll see.
That's it. That's very true, and it's so deep. I think that we went really deep in this episode, but in a really interesting way. And I would love to hear if you are our dear viewer or listener, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of that. How have you viewed karma yourself? We would love to hear from you. If you are listening to us in the audio form, make sure to subscribe to us and maybe visit us on YouTube. You can see how we look, and you can see and comment from there too. So we encourage you to jump across and find us on YouTube, and vice versa. If you would like to just listen instead of watching, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other audio platforms. But we thank you very much for listening. And do make sure to come back, as every week we bring something uniquely deep and insightful that hopefully will help you to grow as a result.
And see you again. And please subscribe our channel and make a like.